irrigation scheme that we call the Weija Irrigation Project. Kirloskar Brothers Limited, an Indian company that was contracted to undertake the rehabilitation of the pumps, has done a magnificent job. Jain Irrigation Company, also from India, has also laid out the delivery systems. When we talk about the delivery systems, we're talking about the irrigation, the sprinklers, the droplets, the drip schemes. And these two companies, coordinated by the Ghanaian Foundries and Machinery Company Limited, also of Indian origin but Ghanaian by birth, have shown to us that India has a capacity to help Ghana move its economic agenda forward. They've also shown the seriousness and business capacity of the Indian government and its people, which means that if we entrust them to help us more, we could put a lot more such land under irrigation so that we can have an all-year-round farming activity to ensure our food security. This Weija Irrigation project dates back to 1983, when the government of Ghana acquired 1,500 hectares of land in the Weija area and dedicated it to irrigate agricultural lands here. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now generally acknowledged that irrigation agriculture is becoming the main engine for sustainable agri-production for food security in most developing countries, if not the rest of the world. Indeed, recent developments in the world reinforce the need for ensuring adequate water and food. And they say water is life. To feed the growing human population, it is that present food production will have to be doubled by the year 2025. Today is 2010. So in 15 years' time, we will need to double the food output in the world to feed the growing world population. At present, some 18% of the total cultivated land in the world is under irrigation, and this accounts for about 33% of world food output. To keep pace with the increased food demand, the current irrigated area should be expanded by nearly 30% all over the world, and which means more fresh water will have to be pumped onto land to achieve this expansion. Despite all these obvious advantages of water, its application in agricultural production, expressed in percentage terms of arable land, is very, very low. Indeed, in Africa as a whole, only 7%. And in sub-Saharan Africa, only 3.7% of our land is under irrigation. This dismal story is not different from the case of Ghana, where out of 500,000 hectares of land that has been decided and determined to be irrigable, only 21,000 hectares, or 0.04% of our irrigable land, is under irrigation at the moment, both formal and informal. Indeed, in Ghana, the interior savanna and the coastal savanna, which you belong to, as well as parts of the transitional zones of the country, have extensive suitable land which can be developed to meet the agricultural requirements of this country. But the vagaries of the weather and uneven distribution of rain make it very difficult for any systematic and sustainable development of agricultural potential of these ecological zones. The development of this vast agricultural land would require the introduction of irrigated agriculture to guarantee the risk of crop failure due to lack of water. Indeed, the use of irrigation technology in combination with good soil management and good agricultural practices and choice of crops and appropriate crop types and varieties are the most important factors for sustainable food availability and food security. We are aware that high infrastructural costs involved in developing irrigation systems such as this one have limited the construction and expansion in this country. Under the circumstances, provision of irrigation facilities has over the years been left solely to the responsibility of government. Again, the absence of a logical follow-up of earlier studies of the irrigation potential in this country to produce a national irrigation development plan and a workable policy framework for the implementation of such a plan has been a major drawback in the development of irrigation in this subsector. Despite these and other challenges, and irrespective of the many fiscal and financial problems limiting the rapid development of irrigation in this country, it is one of the key areas, that is irrigation, one of the key areas that must play an important role in the realization of food security and poverty reduction in Ghana. It is for this reason that the government of Ghana, having recognized the extent and opportunities for enhancing the potential and sustainability of food security and agricultural development in the country, is leaving no stone unturned in its attempt to make irrigation take its rightful place in the development agenda of this country. What are the policies and planned irrigation projects that we have? Under the Ministry of Agriculture's second phase of Food and Agricultural Sector Development Policy, and under our medium-term agricultural investment plan, we call it METASIP, for 2009 to 2015, irrigation development is to play a key role in achieving food security, reduction of rural poverty, and overall equitable economic development. It's expected under the plans that the productivity of irrigation schemes will increase by 25% by the end of 2015. Simultaneously, 500,000 hectares that I mentioned of land that has been studied and found to be suitable for irrigation is planned to be brought under irrigation in this country, while production of food and output of food is expected to increase by between 30 to 50% by 2015. There is the potential for achieving this exceptionally high growth rate in the areas to be brought under irrigation due to the physically suitable environment such as inland valleys, and we have a lot of this, swamps and watersheds, and also the country is endowed with abundant surface water like the Weija Dam that we saw there. The Volta River, for example, is estimated to release into the sea about 0.6 million cubic meters, that is 600 million liters, or about 133 million gallons of at least physically clean water every minute. Every 1 minute, that is the amount of water that goes from Volta River into the sea. The country needs to make use of this free natural resource. The Accra Plains Irrigation Project, in which His Excellency President John Evans Atta Mills has shown very keen interest and is committed to, is surely a to this deliberate waste of natural resource. Under the ministry's medium-term investment sector plan, as I've said, which is geared toward the achievement of the set objective of having 500,000 hectares of land under irrigation by 2015, the government of Ghana will ensure the following are achieved. 1, we will rehabilitate and modernize and expand and revive the financially stalled projects which will yield 70,000 hectares of land. There are so many irrigation schemes scattered all over the country, but which have stopped or are not moving according to plan because of various factors. It is the plan intention to bring the 70,000 hectares of land under all these projects into fruition. We shall also develop micro-scale irrigation schemes to exploit water surface water resources. This is expected to cover 30,000 hectares of land. Indeed, the pilot project has started by procuring water pumps as subsidized farmers, and we are selling this to farmers throughout Ghana to put 2,500 hectares of land under irrigation this year. I don't know whether in this area the pumps reach here, but in central region we have distributed the pumps all over. You don't need the pump because of the irrigation scheme that we have here. Under the plan, we shall review and update the feasibility studies on and the construction of very large-scale projects for implementation to support large agro-industrial development. Such projects include the Accra Plains, Bui, Kamba, Tamne, Mpaha, and Avo-Keta projects. These projects are expected to irrigate an estimated 200,000 hectares of land. We have also designed and we will design and develop 200 hectares of sustainable water harvesting schemes in southern and northern Savannah.